Hello, and welcome to Tea Talk, where the topics are real, relevant, and relaxing. It's Tea Talk time, and here's Lady O.
Well, thank you, Tracy, and welcome everybody. I'm so happy to see all of you here. And as you can see, I'm dressed in my African attire because it's February and it's African American History Month. And you know what? This is one of the wonderful months. It's the shortest month, but we have so many things we celebrate, including my birthday. So I want to thank everybody for all of the birthday wishes, for the dinners, and I'm not finished. So we got more in this month, and I've had something that also happened in this month. My father has passed away, so we're going to be celebrating his life and legacy. But in February, it's going to be a lot going on. Mardi Gras is going on. All of you, where my Louisiana people, my New Orleans. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that, not today. But listen, the topic today is going to be so informative. It is going to be about a subject that no one wants to talk about, but it's happened so much to our women and a lot of our African American women. So, as we celebrate this month of love, we're going to talk about infertility. And for those of you that don't know or don't know what it is and what to look for and what causes it or how you can help and how you respond to someone who is infertile. Do you know that there's so many young ladies that you know, and you kind of wonder why don't they have children? They don't want children, or I know you grandmothers out there are asking those daughters or daughter-in-laws, when am I going to have a grandbaby? And in reality, sometimes it's not a question that they welcome because they have nothing they have no control. They may want to have a baby, but they can't. And for many different reasons. So we're going to talk about those reasons. We're going to talk about what to do, what not to do, give you some solutions of things you can do. Our guests today have tried it, been there, done that, all the things. They know all the emotions. And I just it's like a roller coaster. You know how roller coasters just check around this way. You think you're going pretty straight, and then you got a dip. They're going to talk about the depression, the dark side of it, and but they're also going to talk about the light side because all of them have been successful in eventually having a child, but it was a long, dark journey. Sometimes difficult. It was not easy. So they're going to tell you the good and the bad, but in the end, we're going to all give you information that's going to be relevant for you to be successful. So, why don't you go ahead and start sharing with your friends, your family? If you know somebody who is infertile, this will be the perfect time for them to come and see other women who have been in that same spot and can understand, can really say, I understand what you're going through. And not just say, I understand what you're going through, but here's what I did, here's my story, and here's my success. Here's my little baby. So go ahead and share with some people. Call on some people on the phone. It's not too late. So, girl, you need to get on right now, Tea Talk. And if you will go to First Met Live, the Tea Talk will be there. And of course, those of you that are part of the Tea Talk Club, go to Tea Talk. It's airing there. So share, share, share. Get those questions ready because we are about to learn a whole lot and hear the stories of these wonderful, wonderful people. Now, the first guest that I'm going to have come on is going to be one of our very own, and Tracy Walker. And she is going to share a story she shared with us sometime. And we've just been waiting for the right time to get it on to share with you guys. So, you might want to get your little hanky. Sometimes these stories, even though they're successes, when you do that, remember there's still a few flashbacks. So, help me welcome Tea Talk Club Tracy Walker, our very own. Hi, Tracy.
Hello, hello, and thank you for having me this in this moment of doing this show. It's a show that's very necessary, so I really appreciate you spotlighting infertility.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to hear all of the stories because we want to understand. Because even if you're, if you're not infertile or you don't know anybody, one of the things I struggle with sometimes is, what to say, how to respond, how to show, and not say the wrong thing. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey? When did you realize? I mean, you've been married for quite a time. How many years had you been married? Now tell me that time that you realized, wait a minute, something's not right.
Well, just in total, we've been married 25 years and well, 25 plus, because I'll count the months too.
Yes.
And we struggled basically for 9 years.
Wow. That's
So
a long
got
time.
married in 97, the summer of 97. And shortly after, we were like, because we were in our mid 20s and I was 26 when I got married. So I was ready. I was ready to jump right into it.
Right.
And so some months passed and nothing happened. And we didn't really think much of it. My doctor said, well, that's normal. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So Christmas passed. And of course, the in laws and my parents were like, okay, y'all, we're waiting.
We're ready.
We're
Where are
ready.
my grandbabies?
And so I think it was that following year, 98, I got pregnant and I had a miscarriage. And
Mm,
my doctor said, well, that's normal. Women have, miscarriages all the time. It kind of blew it off and I blew it off too. I
right.
said,
How many
okay,
months
well,
were you when you had your miscarriage?
I was about 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
I was about 3 months pregnant. So, and
I think she froze. Okay. Well, Tracy, we'll come back to you to finish your story, but looks like she froze and she'll have to come back in. But we've got two more guests on that we're going to go and hear their story. Um, I just wanted to share as a grandmother, I know I have twice we've been through that. It wasn't infertility, but it's that they got pregnant and lost the baby. And it is devastating for a woman to lose a baby, even if she's not infertile or having the struggles. But this part is even more, I think, difficult on the mind because you know you're infertile, that you're having problems, and you know that you may or probably won't, in some cases, be able to carry the baby through based upon maybe history that you've had. So I know the devastation we went through when we lost our two little angels, in trying to support our daughters and so forth. So let's see who else is on here. That can, let's see. Oh, there's Robin. Hi, Robin. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello, how are you?
Okay. Hi, Robin. So welcome to Tea Talk. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you much for inviting me.
Yes. So can you tell us your story? When did you realize something was not right, was not happening right, or when did your doctor tell you? How did your story begin to understand that you were going to be having some problems conceiving?
So, I was in high school. I started having lots of pain, lots of heavy cycles where I would get excused from school a lot of the times. I could I couldn't bear the pain. And
Mhm.
my aunt raised me, so she really didn't know. She didn't know what to do. Thought, hey, maybe you're having heavy pains, heavy cycles, unsure of what to do or how to handle it. So
Right.
after so long, the pain started becoming just absolutely unbearable.
Mhm.
And in my during college, some days I couldn't make it to class,
Mhm.
campus. So I went to a doctor and we went through a lot of different testing. And that's when she told me I had something called endometriosis. I
Right.
had no idea what that was. No one to know history of it. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew is that they diagnosed me with endometriosis, and one of the symptoms was heavy cramping, and
Yeah.
another symptom is being infertile.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And you
yes.
know what? Tell us.
So
Well, I think you did kind of tell us just now what that is. It's just pretty much the cramping and heavy periods. And I remember in high school, even before high school, when we first started our cycles, girls would see somebody with stuff on the back of their dress and girls would have to go home and they would be taking Midol. And so we had no idea why or what that was. So, I don't have statistics, but if anybody has them, they can pull them up. But I've been told that African American women have endometriosis at a higher level than most. And if, like I said, they were saying
Yes.
a lot of it's because of the hormones and
Hmm.
hereditary the foods, we all the chicken and stuff that has all these hormones and steroids pumped in them that are cheap, and we eat them and we eat all the hormones, and then our daughters as little kid girls ingest them, and so their hormones are just out of whack. We've got bigger breasts and those kind of things. Sometimes that might be contributing to it. Did the doctor say why, or did he give you hope to say it would stop, or what did he tell you to do?
They couldn't pinpoint exactly where, or all they could tell me was a lot of times in African American communities, it is very hereditary, and sometimes it goes undiagnosed. Some people just think, oh, you just have heavy cycles, when that's not the case all of the time. So,
Mhm.
luckily, I was able to do research and find out what this was, so it wouldn't catch me by surprise.
Mhm.
So, um, diagnosed me, took me through a lot of different testing, um, basically told me that, when you're ready to, it's going to be not impossible, but very hard, very
Very.
complicated. And then another doctor told me that I may not be able to own.
Mhm.
So
So what age are you
I,
at this what time, what age are you?
at this age, I'm 22 and 25.
Right.
So
And that's what
at,
I'm hearing a lot of you say, it's an early 20s, and that's a devastating time that you're trying to get married, and, husband's
Mhm.
husband expecting children, and all of your friends are having children, and it's like you're not. So, what kind of emotions were you going through at that time? I'm sure you saw your friends having children. What was that like?
Yes. It was emotional. I threw so many baby showers. I'm a giver by so if someone needed a baby shower, I would throw the baby shower. I would host birthday parties, and I'm a school teacher, so I'm with kids
Mhm.
all day.
Yeah.
Um, so it was pretty rough for me hearing that, even though my faith is so great in God. Just hearing that from a doctor just put me in a very, very low space, a very dark space. I felt alone. I really felt like I had no one to talk to because my friends around me were all having children.
Mhm.
So it just felt like I was in this space by myself. And I ended up
Mhm.
finding out that I was not, because the few people, they just didn't want to talk, and they didn't know who to talk to, just as I did.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's a very dark space.
it's like the white elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. Like I said, it's embarrassing. It's in your mentally and emotional state. It's not a good place. So nobody wants to talk about it. But that's why we're talking about it today, because we want people to know you're not alone. This is happening to other people, and not only are you not alone, but
Right.
here's their story, and here's what they did, and they have some success stories. So, thank you for sharing your story. Do you
You're
so did
welcome.
you have how many children? Do
I
you
have
have children?
one. I went through the process of IVF, and I was able to have one child. So
Okay. Okay,
very
great.
blessed.
And so that's really good, because not only we talk about the problem, we're talking about that the solution and success.
Yeah,
So you have one child, a girl or boy?
a girl,
A girl. Okay, good, good. Well, congratulations.
and
And how old is she?
she's 10. She's 10 years old now, and
Wow,
things have
wow, wow.
changed. Things have changed so much. So the process is, I recommend that if anyone's going through infertility, please try to research in vitro fertilization, because it is amazing. Technology just keeps improving. So
Mhm.
one of my other friends just went through it, and amazing, amazing results.
Now tell us what that is, and where do you get that from, and how much does it cost? Kind of take us through that process of Who can get it? Where do you get it? And I've heard it's very expensive.
It is. So it's, I went to Fertility Institute, and they're here in
Mhm.
Houston. Have a lot of different locations. The ones Willowbrook, of Houston. They are very. They have so many different payment options, and they walk you through step by step from the moment from your consultation, just talking to them, to what do you have to do, what steps, what different tests you have to take, what what they give you estimates. 10 years
Every
ago, I spent a little over $20,000 total,
wow.
medication, everything.
Mhm.
Um, and I was able to do it. So many people poured into me and to my husband, were able
Mhm.
to come up with the money in
That's
days. But
yeah.
now there are so
Grandparents
many options.
yeah, I bet those grandparents are chipping in too. So, sometimes people want to get
Everyone.
birthday, Christmas presents or whatever. Tell them, hey, put this in my fund, and this is something that's going to
But
really
but now
benefit
there
us
there are so many other options now. A
all. Okay.
lot of different. One of my he actually just went in vitro and just had my godson a few years ago, and through her Starbucks. So now jobs are offering coverage
Oh,
for
wait a minute.
innovation.
Just slow down a minute. You lost me. So you had to pay the $20,000 10 years ago, but now you're saying that some insurance companies like Starbucks will help pay for it from your
I,
insurance or something?
yes, I think she paid
Wow.
$2,000
Oh
total.
my goodness. That's a big
And
difference. I mean, that's affordable.
yes, some amazing companies that are doing that now, because infertility is so major now. So many people are struggling with it. So you have these amazing companies, um, Starbucks, where you only have to work part-time um, to be able to get the insurance and able to go through the process of in vitro fertilization. So it's amazing. It's not
Wow.
stressful.
Well, good, good,
Now,
good. So that's amazing too. You said it doesn't take as long. I know you were talking about it took you a little bit long time. So we're going to bring on our next guest. We'll come back to you as well. And Tracy, I'm coming back to you too to let you finish because I know you got kicked out. But I want to bring Danielle on. Danielle says that my pointer just jumped, so I didn't get a chance to see. She was telling us, let's just go ahead and let her come on. She can tell you herself. This is Danielle Houston, and I was sharing with the team earlier that I first met Danielle when she was going through a big crisis. She came up and asked me for prayer, and I asked her what did you pray about, and she said I just buried my baby, and that just kind of went all over. What do you mean you buried your baby? So she's going to tell you about her process because she not only lost the baby, her baby was at a term where she had to actually go through the funeral, and I just cannot even imagine. So Danielle, come on in. Welcome to Tea Talk.
Hello, thank you for having me on. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about it because even though it's very sad, there's hope. There's
Mm,
hope and there's healing and sharing.
yes.
And Lady O, you've always been a mentor to women in so many different aspects. So I just want to thank you again for this opportunity because women have to help women and just sharing stories and
Yeah.
sharing resources and information
Yeah.
helps that healing.
And I know you have some of that. So tell me about you. You're still a young lady, pretty much. But when did you first find out? Tell us your story. How did you find out
Yeah,
that you
so
were?
I got married at 21.
Mhm.
I was very young. I'm 35 now. I have been pregnant 3 times. I have one son.
Mhm.
I lost two. Um, my son, I had him in between those two losses. And when people, I know that I hadn't had the struggle of infertility per se. Like so many other women will tell you that the doctors will tell you, oh, it's normal. You're not pregnant yet. You're not pregnant yet. It's normal.
Mhm.
Just the timing and maybe your weight or what you're eating or the
Mhm.
hormones or whatever. So, but it took a while to get pregnant. But when um, I had my first baby at 26,
Mhm.
well, I was almost 7 months pregnant.
Mhm.
And we went in just for a routine checkup. And I took my glasses off. I wear glasses, and I was just looking at the ultrasound, and I was so excited. I had my phone out,
Yeah.
and um, the ultrasound technician said, "Put your phone away, please." And I
Mhm.
was like, why? I've always recorded my ultrasounds, and she said, I need you to put your phone away, please. So she started whispering, and then she went to say, I'm coming right back. So she went and got the doctor, and the both of them were in there talking. My husband was sitting there, and they said, I need you to sit up. Um, the baby's heart not beating. And my husband jumped up, what? But it didn't register what they were saying. And
Right.
I was, well, sit down and let them finish telling us what to do next. I was thinking
Yeah.
something can be done. I didn't know,
Right.
and they said, yeah, we're gonna have to send you to delivery. And it hit me then
Yeah.
that was saying it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I went through the how they induce your labor and all
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
I had to give birth like a normal uh, pregnancy that came to term, but instead my baby was already gone.
Mhm.
I didn't get to see her open her eyes. I didn't get to take her home. There was no joy in any of that.
Right.
Um, it was a recovery. I started lactating and all this stuff. So, you know, no baby to I had already started buying stuff. It was very
Yeah.
hard. And
Yes.
that's when I first met you. I didn't know what to do, where to go. It was devastating. And I know women who suffer with infertility, they suffer losses and they don't tell you, but there
Mhm.
many tries before they can actually get that baby they want. And they might want more, but look how expensive this lady said, 20,000,
I
you know.
know.
And so when
Yeah.
people ask me why they don't have more kids, they just don't know,
It's
You don't
not
know what I did to
easy.
get this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Financially, emotionally, physically, there's so many components that it takes to getting a baby here. And people that have them and don't have any problems, they have no idea what a lot of women go through. So even the point I remember talking to you because I hadn't met you and I maybe had seen you, but I really hadn't met you. And when it hit me of what you said to me, it's like, how do you pray for this? Because this young lady is about to go through a funeral because after the baby is so many months, I want to say like
You have
5 months.
see, the first time I
Mhm.
lost, um, I I shut down. So that's why I started the organization Angel Babies Matter, because when I want to be almost like that 911 when somebody loses, because I didn't have anybody to tell me immediately after cremation or do a burial or do some
What
type
to
of
do?
keepsakes and things like that. And I was so confused. But what I wound up doing, I when I talked to you was early on, I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this. I decided not to, and I decided to go through and do. I didn't want to. I wanted it to all be over.
Right.
So I decided not to do any of those things that we talked about, because one of the things, I know it's not oversharing because we're on this platform right
No, we're
now, but
good. We're
I
good.
don't normally talk about this stuff. But one of the things is that when I lost the baby, when they told me the baby was dead, I was still pregnant, and I
Mhm.
had to carry that baby around.
Mhm.
And that's when I met you. So I didn't know what all what I was in for,
Right.
you know, and I felt I was still pregnant, I was still showing, you know, but I didn't know what to do next. And after this baby come out, then what, you know? Do you have a service? Well, you know, what's going on? So it's when you hear a woman say, I lost a baby, uh, if you haven't experienced that up close, many people just like, oh, the baby went away, the pregnancy is not there anymore. They don't know that that woman goes through mentally
Right.
exhausting periods, and she needs a network of women around her. She
Right.
needs prayer, she needs encouragement. um and just like any loss, you know, when
Mhm, mhm.
if you lose your dad or your mom or your siblings, you don't want it, but
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna put
need the support. And
flowers,
it's
the meal trains, and the
right, right. And it's not there. And I'm so glad that just kind of leads me into this program that you have started. I'm so excited to talk about it and for our groups to ladies to hear about it because when that happens to you, most of the time, if you're past like 8 weeks, and the baby may be little to you, but a lot of times the baby does not pass. You have to go in and do inducing. You have to go through a labor and delivery of doing a DNC, and if the baby is young, and I know that because that's what we had to go through with the DNC because it was like 8 weeks or whatever. And then if the baby is bigger, it's more difficult for the baby to come out because it's a full baby, and then you have to go through, some surgery kind of stuff, surgical things. I don't know all the steps, but my point is, I like that you have this organization that you've created. I want you to tell us about it, how to get in touch. And I think they just put it on the screen a minute ago, how to get in touch with you, because people that are going through this, they need to have a place like it's a 911. This just happened to my daughter-in-law or my daughter. Let me call 911, and for them to help me. Because when it happens to you, you just kind of like, what do I do? There's really no place for babies. So tell me about your new organization, what it is, give us the name of it, and can people expect when they come to your website?
Okay, so I do want to add
Mhm,
that I had my first stillborn baby girl. I named her Angel. Angel
mhm,
babies matter. I
mhm.
named her. um it's important that if you hear a woman say she lost a baby, don't say dismissive things like, oh, just have another one, or oh, I guess it wasn't time, or you know, it was probably best.
Mhm.
A mom who lost a baby doesn't want to hear
You don't
that.
want to hear that.
But
God needed a
instead,
flower.
you know what you can do, if instead make her feel like that baby mattered to you. And so
Mhm.
if that was your cousin or your friend or your niece, you could say, "Oh, I wish we could have had my little niece. I miss her too."
Yeah.
You know, make that baby feel real because that baby was real to the
Was
mom.
good.
So
Exactly.
you don't want to dismiss. You want to embrace and say, "Oh, I will be." Well, did you name the baby? If the
Mhm.
mom, if that was her first loss, she probably gonna say no. You know, and say,
Yeah,
"I encourage you, not right now, but I encourage you to think of a name or ask God to give you a name for that baby. Name your baby. Your
that's good.
baby matters. Your baby
Mhm.
matters. Name your baby. What would you, you know? You don't have to come up with a name right now, but ask God to give it to you. You know,
So
I would say
that empathy. So having empathy
have
and
some
making
empathy when
sure,
you're talking to a mom who
yeah,
lost
rather
or
than just dismiss it. Somebody just said they
yeah.
lost a baby and just don't act like something just happened. This is a devastating
And
thing.
sometimes I experience this too. They'll say, "Well, at least you have one." You know, and they'll say, "Well, at least you have one." Well, some moms never get the chance to go full term, you know,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
one baby doesn't replace the other. And
Exactly.
some people that know me know that I experienced it again in 2019. I
Yeah.
lost another one. I had to deliver that one as well.
How many
Um,
months were you with that one?
6 months, same.
6 months. Wow.
Six
And see,
months,
now
same.
this brings up another part of the story. I've known people over the years that get pregnant, but they would always lose it about 6 months. It's like their lining of the floor, they needed to go in and stitch it, give like a little basket,
I
what they
had to
call
get the stitch and all that, but that wasn't my
it,
issue.
fall through. So, but that
That
wasn't
wasn't
your
my
issue.
issue. The issue with me, and some other women, is the blood pressure.
Okay.
And the blood pressure is will cause preeclampsia.
Yep.
You'll start
Toxemia.
getting the protein in the urine.
Mhm.
But with me, the blood pressure. So I did the after I had the baby, I did an autopsy. I did pathology on my you what they call the placenta
Placenta.
and
Uh-huh.
everything. Okay, so what we found out, because information is great, we couldn't find that out till later. I
Hmm.
had blood clots in the placenta.
Okay.
That's an indication that my blood pressure was spiking. So
Hmm.
the blood pressure causes blood clots. Blood clots stops the baby from getting the blood. The
Oxygen.
blood baby
Mhm.
needs blood to have oxygen. The baby cannot breathe, cannot grow without oxygen. So blood pressure stops the baby from coming to
Yeah,
life because the
from
blood.
living.
So
Thank you for sharing that because that's something that probably people, when you said, "Do you want an autopsy done on it?" and people are like, "I don't want an autopsy done." It seems like it's just another bad thing to happen to you. But the autopsy gives you information so that the next time you'll know what happened and you
they'll
won't
let
keep
you
just
know if
going
it's
blindly
genetic,
into it. Yeah, is it
if the baby
genetic?
was
Yeah.
not developing, and also many doctors will tell you, and many religious people that I'm very religious as well. I believe in doctor information, but I also believe in Jesus. Um,
Exactly.
Sometimes there is no explanation, and you
Yeah.
have to be okay with that as well. Um,
Hmm.
but but all of that in knowledge comes from God.
Hmm.
But Angel Babies Matter is a network of moms who have experienced loss, um,
Hmm.
and it's loss in the form of miscarriage. Miscarriage is loss before 20 weeks.
Okay.
Um, Stillbirth is 20 weeks and beyond. They even have moms who deliver full term, but the baby doesn't live but a few hours. We call that neonatal death, where the
Mhm.
baby, where you deliver, but the baby just doesn't have hadn't
Didn't
developed
stop.
enough
Mhm.
the organs, to sustain life. It was
That's
not
right.
viable.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so that's beyond. And it can happen at any time, but a late term stillbirth is beyond 37. So I was about 28.
Okay.
Um, but there are about 21,000 women that experience stillbirth every year. Can you imagine?
Wow, 21.
21,000 babies are born still.
Mhm.
And when we
Wow.
say still, when I had that baby, it was quiet. It was no crying. It was no,
Mhm.
oh, let me have them. It
Yeah.
was like,
And you
oh my
still
God.
probably still remember that, or can remember that moment when everything is just quiet, when it should be the cry. It should be people thought spanking, or there should be
Yeah,
life, but there's
exactly. And you don't, but my experience was not a good one after I had the baby. It was just me in the hospital, and they would bring the baby to me. They would have the baby in the freezer, and I would ask, "Oh, can I see her?" And they would bring, but she was already, deteriorating and everything. But it was my baby, so I wasn't creeped out about it. But I
yeah.
got a chance to bathe her and pray for her,
Mm.
and that's when God gave it to me. You just gave birth to an angel. You didn't get to
Wow.
see that baby live.
No. You know
That
what?
baby
Let
is
me ask you
already
this,
in heaven.
because this is something that I want to make sure that you share or say. So, would you encourage the woman, if the baby is not fully developed, or if the baby may be deformed a little bit or whatever, that you still hold your baby and you bond with your baby? Or some, no, some
Absolutely.
people just push them away. They don't want nothing to do with it, because once they're gone, buried or whatever, you can't go back and get that moment. So, would you suggest that?
I wish that I would have kept the ashes from the first baby, but I did do it for the second one. I have a urn at home,
Mhm.
but I still have the footprints, and that's what Angel Babies Matter wants to do for the ladies. Do gift baskets, do the molding, sponsor, the molding. Sometimes they want to do pictures,
Mhm.
and keepsakes for the baby, prayer journals, candles, affirmation cards, even
Okay,
little
let's
stuff.
stop. Let's stop for a minute. Let's go back. So you have a website, a business. Is this a
It's
501c3?
nonprofit.
It's
It's a
nonprofit. So
501c3.
that if this happens, say this will be the 911, that they will go there and they can get the ideas of a urn or candle or keepsake. I remember a lady in our church one time that, and the women's hospital is the one I've seen is very, very sensitive. They have a package, a little box is what they had for her. And they actually do the footprints, that kind of stuff. And they even put the baby in there and took pictures for the mother because she wasn't thinking about that. And I remember when I went to visit her, she wanted to show it to me. So your company that you're having, you're saying this is kind of like your first stop if this happens to you, and you're going to get all the
Absolutely.
things you've been talking about.
And I want to partner with any woman who's listening that have businesses that want to do something. Let me tell you something. There's a nice lady I met at First Metropolitan. Her name is Miss Felicia, and she does Mary Kay. But she did something very nice for one of the moms. I shared with her that a mom reached out to me and told me she had just lost, and she sent her some things to pamper herself.
Huh?
This is very important because the
Mhm.
mom can lose it. Okay,
Yeah.
so she
Mhm.
needs to remember her baby, but also remember herself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
and that's hard too because I mean you probably don't want to put on lipstick and you don't feel that joy or whatever because you're in it really is a state of grieving, just like
it,
somebody
it's
would
great.
grieve their mom or
But
dad
I
or
have
their
to do my lipstick because I have to feel good about myself.
yeah.
So
So what you're saying is
while
that
you're
some
grieving,
businesses could partner with you to donate things to help give maybe even like a lunch or something or a spa
just a
treatment.
lunch,
Yeah,
um,
that's good.
it took me years to get there, so I'm not gonna act like it was overnight, but it was
Mhm.
some years before every January 10th when I delivered that baby, I wasn't in the bed under the covers, like don't nobody ask me to do anything, don't call me. It took me years to get to the point where I said, I'm not going to be in this bed
Right,
like
right,
this. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to go get my nails done. I'm going to take me a walk. And I'm going to celebrate
right.
my baby's
Well,
birthday, even though she's not here.
exactly. So I think the next question I want to ask, and I want to get back to some of the other guests too, for them to finish their story. So the grieving process, how long would you say you were in that dark place? About how long?
Well, I would say early on, I always had praying women around me. And
Hmm.
one piece of advice a lady told me when she lost, she said, stay out of dark places.
Hmm.
Stay out of dark places and keep praying.
Hmm.
And so I did that. And what I did was I shared. So I would
Yes.
say I went through depression, but I was fighting it with all I had.
Hmm.
Honestly, I mean, and then even when you fight it, you can't, and sometimes you just can't help it.
Right.
I had to talk to spiritual counselors and professional counselors. Um, I
That's
had to
good.
quit my job. I had to
Mhm.
do things that I just had to recover from that. It's a big loss. And
So
even
you
when
said you had to quit your job because you were just so devastated,
I couldn't commit to going every day.
couldn't function. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
I
good to
couldn't
say
take
that
it.
because some people are so down on themselves because they can't get out of the bed, they can't go to their job, they can't do whatever. So you're saying that that's just like a normal process. So go with whatever, but just don't stay there in that dark place.
Don't
Press your
stay
way.
there.
Hmm.
Don't
Okay.
stay.
Good.
And that's why I'm here. I want to, and that I have dozens of women on board. It's not just me. I'm the face, but it's
Yeah.
not just me. Dozens of women, like you hear somebody lost their baby, just give me the phone call. I'm gonna call them and
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray with them and I'm gonna talk to them and they can call me because I understand.
So do you so you're also keep asking for volunteers to help? Can people just come and volunteer
Absolutely.
to help do what you're doing?
Just go on the contact us page. Tell me how you interested in the organization, whether you're a mom who lost or you're somebody who wants to come to the hospital with me. When I hear about a mom who lost, you want to deliver the basket, you want to be in the press circle, in the prayer chat, you want to be the one who check on the mom, or maybe you
I
might
love
want to
it.
send her lunch. Just let
Mhm.
me know how you would like to
How you
help
would like
because
to help. So
yeah.
give us a website again and the name of your group,
So it's angelbabiesmatter.com.
angelbabymatter.com.
Angel Babies, and the official name is Angel Babies Matter Network because we're a
Okay.
network of
We're
women.
network. Okay.
But
I love
Angel
it.
Babies Matter. Your baby matters to
Mhm.
me. Your baby
Mhm.
matters to you,
Yeah.
and to all of us. And so, thank you, Lady O, for having me on because I know that you care,
Yes,
and
I
that
do.
when I share with you, it never left you. So I
Yeah.
appreciate the empathy and the heart that you have.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming. I tell you, I've been praying about this a long time. So I'm so glad we have some solutions that you're stepping up to, that you stepped up. And any woman on here who would like to step up and help you, we've got the website there on. So let's go back to Tracy because I think she got cut off, but I'm looking for great things. And I'm going to be one of those people to come and volunteer because I love going to help women. So, Tracy, I think you got cut off. So, can you finish telling us your story? I think you were talking about how old you were when this all happened, and I know
Right.
you were one of
So,
those that you shared that the mother, your mother and mother-in-law, whoever was asking, when are we gonna have grandbabies? Talk
oh
about
yeah,
what it was
they were they
like.
were they were on us. So they're like, hey, we're ready for some grandchildren.
Hmm.
And so our first miscarriage, we were married in '97. Like I said, probably 6 months after I got pregnant, I had a miscarriage, and the doctor kind of just kind of blew it off. So I did too. I mean, I knew that that was something that could possibly happen. So we go through this journey again. It's 6 months later. I'm still not pregnant again. Some more time passed, still not pregnant. So my doctor asked about testing, doing some testing to figure out what was going on. At that time, found out that I had fibroids. And
Mm,
that's also something very, very common amongst African American women.
yeah.
And my mother had fibroids. I had fibroids, and my sister, she's had fibroids. So,
So it could
uh,
possibly be hereditary too,
yes,
since sounds
yes.
like.
And,
Mhm.
and it's food. It's also based on the foods that we eat.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah,
hereditary.
that's
It
what I
could
was
also
sharing
be
earlier. Eating these cheap foods that have a lot of hormones and grease and fat in them too. And
yes.
these chickens have hormones, and that the hormones that we eat from them go straight into our bodies.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So,
So
you said you did in vitro as well?
well, what I ended up doing was we had the surgery to remove the fibroids
Okay.
because I really did not initially want to go through that process. I just figured, well, if I get the fibroids removed, I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So got the fibroids removed, and just some background on that. The first time I had it done, I had to have fibroid surgery twice.
Mm.
The first time I had it done, they actually had to cut me like they do like a C-section.
Wow.
So I was cut open. Yes. Now it's so sophisticated. They just use the laser, the robotic surgery, and remove it that way now.
No.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
medicine's come a long way.
Thank God.
Yes. So had the surgery. We're trucking along. Now we're almost married for 2 years now, almost a little bit over 2 years.
And still no baby.
Still no baby. So I'm like,
Mm.
well, I had surgery. What's going on? Went through some more testing. Michael had to go. My husband had to go through testing. I had to go through testing. Um, they were like, "Well, y'all are fine. You seem to be okay. I don't know. We don't know what's going on." Um, so in this whole process, my fibroids. I got some more fibroids.
No. I didn't know they
More.
could come back.
They came back, and they came back bigger and more aggressive.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy.
So then the doctor said, because they're growing so fast and you're having so much pain, we got to put you on birth control pills.
Mm.
So you can't get pregnant. So it's only a slight chance you can get pregnant on birth control. So I couldn't even get pregnant during that time because they were trying to control it and then shrink them
Yeah.
before surgery. So almost 3 years married now, and I had to have surgery twice.
Mm.
So
Wow.
did that again, and healed and everything else. Everything went fine. Still not pregnant.
And let me ask you this too, because we hadn't talked about this at all. The husbands go through as well. What was your husband going through? I mean, you're this married bride, you're beautiful, look like everything we got it going on. He's got it going on. And so what are the husbands doing? What can they do? Give me a little bit, like we hadn't talked about the husbands. What should they do, should not do?
One
Or
of the things that is so important for husbands because they're so, Pastor Johnny's message was so point on this morning because they've been taught to be this strong, don't show your emotions.
right.
And that sends a message to your wife that, you know, I got to be strong. I don't want you to see
Yeah.
that she's in it by herself. That's
Yeah.
kind of how you feel when he's not
He
emotionally
doesn't care. I'm going through. He doesn't really feel what I'm feeling.
right. But
That's
I
a
will
very good.
say, with Mike, we went through this together.
Good.
Um, it
That
was
made you feel better that he was showing some emotion, right?
he was, I actually felt worse for him when I had that miscarriage, and because it just, I saw the hurt in him. I
Mm-hmm.
saw the hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the doctors together. Um, we prayed together. Yes. So it was a journey that we went through together,
Mm-hmm.
and
No,
that is
you
so
had several miscarriages, though, right?
right because after the fibroids or the second one, some time passed. I finally was able to get pregnant, and everything was going pretty good. And then around 3 months, I started cramping,
Oh,
and that look that you have, like, oh my god. And I
not again.
remember I ran into the restroom and I said, Mike, something's not right. And he ran in there behind me. And at that point, I had a miscarriage because I don't want to give the graphic details of it, but we knew it was. And
You
just to
knew.
let you know, like I said,
Mhm.
men go through it too.
Yeah.
And I know, and I'm just being. My
Mm.
husband took that matter, I will say the baby, and
Right.
tried to put it back inside.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
that
see.
probably was the most difficult thing for me to ever see. Is
Mm.
that he's like, wow, I can't. No, I kept looking at
Mm.
his face like, no, this can't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I went through that. Had to have the DNC. Went through that process,
Yeah.
and at this point, I'm trying to figure out, God, what do I do? I don't know what to. I don't know what else to do.
Mm.
And
Mm-mm-mm.
I will tell you this. I want to talk a little bit about the medical part of it as well.
Okay. Okay.
Black women are treated differently than other women, other
Mm-hmm.
races. The 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 the, the part for me was we really have doctors. If we don't do it, they're not going to push for us. A lot of them are not.
They
I'm not
don't.
saying all of them, but we got to push.
The majority of them don't.
The
That's what
majority of them don't.
statistics show.
Yeah,
Um, so it's
it was
not
just
just
for,
a statement.
for some of them it's just procedural. It's just this is what you do. But I saw the different care for me versus a white woman. I saw that. I
Mhm.
saw the difference,
Mhm.
and it's heartbreaking
Yeah, it
that
really
we're
is.
treated so differently.
Right.
So, but yeah, and then after that second miscarriage, we had to end up going through. What do we do now? I felt like my doctor.
Mhm.
She was very procedural. She was, did what she had to do, but we needed somebody that was in there with us. So I changed
Mhm.
doctors.
I was going to say that sometimes you need a person who's not that they're not a good doctor, but you need that next level. Someone who's been
Yes.
there, who really is a specialist that knows everything to do. So yeah, so that would be sometimes you have to do that.
So we found a doctor, and I knew this was God's doing because when we met him, Dr. John Buster, the first question he asked me when I walked in, he said, "Are you a Christian?"
Mm, yes, that matters.
And
That
I mean, I
matters.
just, at that point, I just knew. I said, "Thank you, Jesus." I just knew at that point.
Mm.
Now, even in that, you're talking 4 years in, and this journey was 9 years.
Oh, before you had the baby, 9
Yes,
years.
9 years.
Wow.
But
So
we were on.
imagine
I
it
was
was
on.
a roller coaster, a long roller coaster. It seemed like it was never going to end.
It was never going to end, and we
Yeah.
went through the. If you name a fertility drug, I probably took it.
Okay. So you took all the drugs, that didn't work. And for nine
And
years. So what worked for you after 9 years? How did you get to have this baby?
it was just God. At that point, I said, I'm tired. I'm just
Mm,
tired.
yeah.
And
God heard your cry. It's like Hannah.
yeah, I was just tired. When you go through years of fertility drugs, it takes
Mhm.
a toll on you physically because it's not stuff that should be inside of you or like that been that long.
Right.
So hormonally, I was all over the place. God bless Michael.
Mm.
God
I
bless.
was going to ask, what did it do for your marriage relationship? Because I'm sure 9 years of this roller coaster, I'm sure sometimes you may have kind of lashed out at him, and maybe even with him, he may have not been, as caring all the time because he was frustrated too.
Well, and men tend to throw themselves into work, and that's what he did.
Mm,
He really, really threw himself into work, and I'm saying he was still uh, there for me, but it takes a toll. It takes a toll on you emotionally, physically, financially,
and your marriage
because
too.
yeah, it's expensive. It's taxing, and
Hmm.
the spiritual aspect of it, you begin to question God.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
I'm living for you, I'm working for you, God, and what I don't understand what's going on. And
yeah.
I
Why
think I
can't I
think
have a baby? Hmm.
yeah, and I think for me, it's if I wasn't rooted and grounded in God, I could have walked away from this because my biggest hurt came from the church.
Wow, what
With
happened?
people, well, people saying, "Oh, you just don't believe enough," or
Oh,
looking at
yeah.
us like we're not
You're
strong
not, you need to
Christians
pray and
because
fast, and you need to
right,
believe God. You need to claim it and name it. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
people need to not do that. You're not praying enough. Let's go through a fast. Let's tarry. I get it. So that was
right,
very hurtful, I'm sure.
right, and you're like, y'all are supposed to be there. I need encouragement, not cutting me down.
Yeah. Well, they're like
You
they're blaming you for not being able to have a baby when you're doing all you can do. And sometimes people can get super religious
Yeah,
on you. I have prayed for people and they did get pregnant, but that was God's, and why it happened, I have no idea. But that's what God did. I'm reading in my comments over here, and Yolette is saying this is her story, so she's having the same thing. Of course, her baby is my baby. She got a big baby that we have adopted over the years, and he is in college now. So I can imagine this is hitting a lot of people. So you
yeah.
finally did have your baby boy. What was that like?
Oh my God. It was tears of joy. God
Mm,
just reminded me that He is God, and
yes.
it's His timing, and
Hmm.
it strengthened my marriage. It
Hmm.
strengthened my walk with God. But I think most importantly, it helped me to understand that I went through this not for me. And I always tell my son and everybody that I try to encounter, God did not put us here for just us. He put us
Yes.
here for each other.
Hmm.
And I went through that not just for myself, but for but to be able to help somebody else. And I have had so many women I've crossed paths with have gone through this journey, and I thank God that I've been able to talk and share and pour into them.
Well, good. Well, I'm hoping that, maybe even Danielle on your website, maybe you could get some testimonies from some of these ladies. That because it's nothing like, people say, well, I know how you feel. No, if you never lost a mother, you don't know how I feel. If you've never lost a baby, you don't know how I feel. You feel bad for me, but you really don't know the hurt and devastation that a person goes through with infertility. And I started to be very sensitive about that when we it's almost been like a ministry that I've had for years that God put me into. I've never had a problem getting pregnant or carrying the baby through, but my heart just went out to people when they said, "Can you pray for me to get pregnant?" And I saw in their eyes that this is not something that was just, "Oh, can you?" This is really hurt and devastation that they're trying to get through. So I'm glad we had some success stories, and we want to encourage. We found some things to not do. Don't talk about God needed a flower in heaven, so He chose your baby. You'd be like, let me go slap God because that's my flower. you know, People don't know what to say, and so the best thing to say is to just say, like Danielle was saying that. Oh, did you name your baby? I'm so sorry that your baby's not here. Or, on special occasions when you're going through, rather than saying, you've been going through this for 10 years, you need to get over this. Just say, oh, well, how many years is it? Well, let's go out and celebrate. Let's have a lunch or something and celebrate. And baby, and then Danielle, for you to have a place for them to go to, I think it's going
Absolutely.
to be so key. So
And you
we're
know what?
excited.
Another nice thing, lady, when I lost that baby, I didn't have a baby, and Mother's Day was coming up. And she
Ooh,
called me right before Mother's Day, and she said, even though you don't have a baby, I want you to know that you're still a mom. Um,
yes,
and she said, so you can celebrate Mother's Day and think
exactly.
about your baby. And so my first event is gonna be right before Mother's Day for
Okay.
moms who lost babies, and
Okay,
I
so when
will
is you gonna
share
send
that.
that to us? So do you know the date already or what?
It will. I have it on the website, but
On the
I'll do.
website.
I'm gonna
So
do
go,
a
because
bunch
we are
of
running out of time, but go to the
and it's on
website,
the events page. Yes, it
yeah,
is.
for the event page, and find out that, and really invite somebody, send somebody, go with somebody. I think that's really important. So I'm really
Absolutely.
excited. I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I do at First Minute, y'all know, on Mother's Day, every woman in
It's a
there
big deal.
get
Yes,
the flower, they get the gift. I'm not going to say who has a child stand up. All of the women stand up because we're all mothers in whatever way it is, whether you're an auntie or whether you're, godmother. God gave us that mothering emotion and feeling to love on somebody, even it's not our biological child, and we have to be sensitive to those who have had a baby and that baby's in heaven. So I want to just say today, thank you for joining me. And I'm going to drink to all of our little angels, mine too, that are up in heaven. And to all of the wonderful ladies, you are loved. You are a mother. You are important. Your baby is important. So I want to drink to you and say, thank you for being a mother. Thank you for your life and for your baby's life. And thank you for joining us today on Tea Talk. Now go tell somebody about this, share it with somebody. Keep sharing throughout the week, because somebody needs to hear this. Some grandmother, some child, some mother who's never, still hasn't had that success yet. I want to encourage you and tell you, don't give up. Keep praying, keep trying. God is on the way, and that baby is on the way. You just got to hang in there. And these three ladies today have shown you that it will happen. So though it tarry, it will happen even after 10 years. So thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next week at 3 for Tea with Lady O. Goodbye.